Hi everyone, I'm Felicia and this is Jalee.
Hi
And
there.
um, today we're here to demonstrate some static stretching. So that's just stretching, but we're holding it for longer periods of time. So right now we're both seated so that you can really see the neck and shoulder stretching, but you can do these stretches seated, standing, or even lying down. They're pretty simple to do, and yeah, you can just kind of follow along. All right, so we'll start with the neck. So first, we're going to start with stretching kind of the back of our neck. So if you're kind of seated or standing in sort of like an upright, good posture, you can bring your chin down towards your chest, and you should feel that stretch right at the back of your neck. And Jaylee is going to demonstrate how you can increase the stretch using a towel. So you can use the towel if you want more of a stretch. Um, Even without the towel, I can definitely feel the stretch in the back of my neck. And you're just going to hold that position for about 30 seconds and then back up to a neutral position. All right, so that stretches the back of the neck. Now we're going to stretch the front of the neck, so some of the muscles in here. So this one is pretty straightforward. You're just going to look up, and you should feel the stretch in the front of your neck there. If you're feeling any pain in the back of your neck or any sharpness or cracking or anything like that, maybe just skip this stretch and move on to the side stretches. But if you're okay there and you're not really feeling any of the pain in the back, then you can do that one and hold for about 30 seconds. And then back to looking ahead. All right, so now we're going to stretch the sides of the neck. So these muscles tend to get really tight in a lot of people, especially if you're often on the phone or looking down a lot. And so we're going to stretch this area. We're going to start with stretching the right side. So we're going to bring our left ear to our left shoulder. And you should just feel the stretch right in the neck in this area. And just hold that for 30 seconds. And back up to neutral. And then we're going to do the left side. So again, looking straight ahead and bringing your right ear to your right shoulder. And again, you should just feel that stretch right in there.
And to add on, everyone has different range of motion. So if it hurts and you're trying to push yourself, you should stop at the part where you start feeling that stretch.
Yes, that is definitely a good point. And looking back straight ahead. All right, so those are your neck stretches. And you can do those really anytime you're sitting for a long time or looking at a screen or looking down. So next we're going to move on to the shoulders. So again, this is something that you can do standing or seated or even lying down. And we're going to start with raising the arms. So actually, since Jalee is demonstrating this one seated, I'm going to demonstrate this one standing up. So for this one, you're going to just raise your arms up as high as you can. So to do this, you want to make sure that you're keeping your shoulders back and down. So you're not really hiking up your shoulders here, but you're just sort of using your muscles around your shoulders to raise your arms. So you can see Jalee demonstrating there. Jalee might be able to go a little higher than I am over her head, but because I can't go fully over my head, I'm just going to go to the side, and that's okay. Again, like Jalee said, we all have different ranges of motion, so just go to what's comfortable for you. And once you do, you're just going to hold that for about 30 seconds. And you should just sort of feel the stretch under your arms and sort of around the shoulders. Okay, and then once you're finished with that, we're going to do the front. So just raising your arms out in front of you. Again, as high as you can. If you can go over your head, that's great. And just hold that for 30 seconds. And again, just going wherever is comfortable for you. All right. So those are some shoulder stretches, simple way to just kind of get some movement in the shoulders. Yeah, so static stretching for the shoulders. All right.
The back.
The back, yes. So now we're going to work on the back. So this is just a simple stretch. Again, you can do it seated, lying down. If you're familiar with yoga and you've ever heard of the cat-cow pose, this would be sort of the cow version of that. And that's just stretching the back. So you're going to cross your arms over your front and just sort of bend forward so that you're sort of pulling your belly button inward and just sort of arching your back. And again, just going wherever is comfortable for you and not overdoing it, just so you feel a bit of a stretch, holding for 30 seconds, and then back up to neutral. All right, and then next we have the abdomen. So we're going to stretch out the abdominal area. And we have a couple ways that you can do this. So the first one is just simply locking your fingers together right in front of you and just raising your arms as high as you can. So for me, they stop here. You can see Jalee's going a little bit further. And if you're standing, you want to put your weight on the front of your feet, and you're really going to feel the stretch in this area too. And maybe even I'm feeling it in my hip flexors as well. So right in the hips there. And again, you're just going to hold that for 30 seconds. And that's one version of the abdominal stretch. And another version, I'll let Jalee demonstrate this one. It's a little bit more simple and it's easy to do seated. So I'll take a seat here, and Jalee, if you want to take over this one.
So for this one, you can't really see. You'll tuck in your stomach and breathe it in. And you'll feel a stretch in your abdominals as well as your lower. And out. And you would hold that for 30 seconds. But if it starts hurting before 30, you can let go.
Perfect. So it almost feels like you're pushing out your stomach a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Blow up that balloon.
Yes. Oh, I like that. Like filling a balloon.
Yes.
Perfect. So that's another really simple way to stretch out the abdominal muscles. And now we're going to go to chest. So I'll get standing again. And Jalee will show you the seated version. So for this one, a really simple thing you can do to stretch out your chest is starting really simple. You can even just sort of push out your chest. So just pushing your chest forward, you can really just feel the stretch. You should feel it kind of through this area here. You're also using the muscles in your back a little bit to sort of squeeze your shoulder blades together. So you might feel a little bit of those as well. but we really want to stretch out the front here. So yeah, and then just holding that for 30 seconds. If you want to take it a little bit further, you can bring your arms in front of you here and just stretch them out. Again, as far as you can, you don't want it to be painful. And again, just bringing those shoulder blades together. And like we did with the shoulder exercises, keeping your shoulders back and down away from your ears as much as possible. And just feeling the stretch in the front.
Kind of like, sorry, like you have a water bottle at the back and you're trying to squeeze it.
Oh, yes, I like that. So yeah, like you're squeezing a water bottle between your shoulder blades. And another way you can kind of do this if you want some extra stretch is you could stand in between a door frame.
Yes.
And I'm not standing in between one right now to demonstrate, but you can kind of imagine if you're holding the sides of the door frame and just putting your weight in front, and you should feel the stretch through your chest as well. So for legs, we're going to start with the muscles in the back of your legs. So we're stretching out the back of our legs here. So a standing stretch, I'm going to show the standing stretch, and Jalee's going to show a way that you could stretch seated. So the standing stretch, I'll kind of go through the standing stretch and then I'll let Jalee go through the seated one. So with the standing stretch, you're standing with good posture, and you're just going to try and bend down and reach your toes. But it's important to remember that you're bending from the hips. So you're not arching your back this time. You're just kind of trying to keep your back straight and bending from the hips. So just go as far as you can. You should start to feel the stretch in the back of your legs. Again, you don't want it to be painful, but you just should feel that stretch there. And as far as you can, and keeping your back straight, and almost imagining like there's a string on your tailbone, pulling it up and pulling your belly button toward your back, just to kind of increase the stretch there. And again, holding that for 30 seconds, and then back up to standing position. All right, so that's the standing version, and I'll let Jalee show you the seated version.
So same thing, but we'd reach down to our toes while seated. And like Felicia said, you almost like there's a string pulling you down. And go as far as you can. If you can't reach your toes, that's completely okay. And back up. And you'd hold for 30 seconds or less if you feel that pain.
All right, so now we're gonna stretch the front, so your quadricep muscles, and you can do that standing. And I'm actually going to grab a chair here to assist me. So one way you can do this is just by grabbing the back of your foot. Actually, I'm going to grab one more thing. So if you have a towel or sort of like a band or really anything that you can kind of loop around your foot, this can help. So in my case, I can't quite reach the back of my foot there. So if you can, that's great. Just grab the back of your foot and pull upward, and you should feel the stretch right in the front of your leg there. But if you can't, that's where a towel or something like this can come in handy. And just kind of loop that around your foot and just pull upward. So that kind of helps. And I'll show you from this side as well. So just using that to pull upward, and you should feel the stretch right in here. And again, just holding for 30 seconds. And then switching to the other leg. You do the same thing for the other leg. Another way you can do it is, this is why I have my chair here. You can use the top of the chair to help if you can't reach the back of your foot. And just placing your foot on the chair there and letting your knee hang down. I actually prefer this way over the band or the towel, but whichever works better for you. And you should feel a stretch right in the front of the leg there. So those are some standing ones that you can do. Seated is can be a little more difficult to stretch the quads, but we're going to show you a couple ways you can do that. So Jalee's going to show you one way where you can kind of press down on the ground.
So if you use all your force to press on the ground, you'll definitely feel a stretch here in your quad. And it's kind of an isometric way to do an exercise too, to stretch your calves. So just press into the ground and you'll feel your muscles activate. And hold for 30 seconds. And release. That's one way of doing it sitting down.
Awesome. Yeah, and then another thing you can do is just sort of massage the front of your legs. So whether you're seated or standing or even lying down, just kind of, and you'll often find if it's tight there, there's probably a bit of pain or tenderness. Just kind of pressing on the sore spots and releasing those muscles a little bit can help stretch that area as well. And that's something you can do, like I said, seated, lying down, either way. Another thing you can do lying down is that same stretch we did standing. You could even use the band to help if you can't reach your foot. But if you're lying on your side, again, just bringing that heel to your behind and stretching out the front of the leg there. All right. So that covers quads, or the front of the leg. So we're now going to move on to the lower part of the back of the leg. All right, so you can do this standing using a block. So this is similar to if you've seen our stretching video. Jalee used a book to kind of get that range of motion in the ankle. So this is another way you can kind of do this. Using a block, and the chair is for balance. And you're just going to put all of your weight on your heel that's hanging off of the block. So you could even do this on the stairs or a ledge that you may have, and just kind of stretching the back here. And then switching and doing the same with the other foot. So you should just feel the stretch there in the back. All right, so that's the standing version. And I'll let Jalee show you the seated version.
So for a seated version, if you have a towel, you would put it at the end of your foot and kind of pull with your arms, and you'd feel a stretch at the bottom of your calves if you're pulling with your arms and letting your foot go. And then you would do the same for the other leg as well.
Awesome. So there you have it.
Perfect.
We stretched all of the major muscle groups. And again, this is something you can do on a daily basis when you've been sitting for a long time, when you're feeling stiff. And as you saw, they're all pretty easy to do. And you can use props for them, or you can just use yourself. Yeah, and those are the stretches. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.